Hello, Internet, halfmeasuresroom.com, YouTube, Facebook. This is Oliver here to do another weekly video log. Just had a real busy week, busy weekend. A lot to do with work. For a little while there, I was only doing 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, and now I'm back to that's my that's my cat Casper. Sniffing out my PC. I'm using the Mac. I seem to get a better video. It's a little fuzzy today. I don't know what's up with that. But it's a lot. It's been real cold outside. Wet this weekend. This week was down in the freezing temperatures at night, which is real rare from where I live in Texas. I live in Central Texas in the hill country. Like I said before, we've gone through this drought past few years, and just things get really extremely hot during the summer. In the wintertime, we don't really experience a lot of cold weather for very long. So getting this kind of temperatures in November is off the charts. A little different than normal. Things don't really get seriously freezing cold around here until probably after Christmas time. That makes my screen a little dark at the. Just trying to keep that shine off my my glasses. This week was different at work. They gave me 80 or 40 hours, 8 hours a day, and to tell you the truth, I don't really like this job that much, but I wanted to start working again. Had been looking for a job for a couple months because I lost my previous employment. Was terminated, and I was trying to find something in the IT profession because that's what I've been going to school for. It's what I have an associate's in, and that's what I'm seeking a bachelor's in is information technology. Doing stuff with computers, networking, software, things of that nature. Programming. Text editing, data entry, whatever. I just, it's hard for me to find one without some kind of job experience. Most of my job experience the past 15 years has been construction industry and the testing, engineering type of area. On the job in the laboratory type of stuff. Most of these IT companies that are hiring people are looking for people with job experience and college degrees, and I only have the college degree. I don't have the job experience. So I was looking for these entry level jobs, and I picked up this job because I've been looking for a couple months, and it's not something that I really want to do or continue doing, but it's something that is putting money in my pocket and help me to pay for things. But I'm still looking for something else, something that I'm used to getting paid for doing, and all that nature. So this week was a little difficult. Some days were better than others. I do these assessments once a week and at this job, and I did 3 of them this week for some reason. I don't know what that was about, but I did pretty well, I think. So hopefully my pay will increase because of that. But in the meantime, I'm still going to be looking for something else. But still remain working. This weekend was pretty fantastic. It was my daughter's 10-year birthday on Saturday, and she had this carnival thing going on at her school, and then this afternoon she had her actual birthday party that was thrown at one of these laser tag places. Laser tag, something new for me. I remember when it came out. It came out when I was a kid. They didn't have these places, like arcades where they had the actual games going on. So I never really got into that. So that was really cool seeing her do all that and being a part of it. It's just been a real rainy, cold weekend. Not much the kids could do outside, so it was good to be indoors. The carnival thing on Saturday was at my daughter's school, so it was outside. But it really wasn't that bad. It was just kind of sprinkling. Today was a little more wet, a little more rainy, and it's just been really cold. So tonight they're talking freezing temperatures again. May sleet in the morning, so I'm gonna keep an eye on the news when I wake up because I'm not gonna be driving. I gotta drive across on this upper deck thing to get to work for about 20 miles. So I want to make sure these bridges are clear to drive across, because I'm not gonna get out and drive in that kind of weather. I'll be calling in sick or calling in later or whatever. Um, yeah, just a lot to do. Real busy guy this week. School, going through a class right now, and was trying to get some of that done in the evenings. And I really could spend a little more time doing the schoolwork than I have this week. Things have just been kind of crazy, getting stuff ready for my daughter's birthday, and then going to work and everything. So that's what I'll be doing after after finishing this log. I'm gonna be reading my school and doing some activities concerning that. But see, tonight we're talking about the ninth step. And I had a lot of thoughts about this today. Um, what I was gonna say for the log. And I just don't really know where to begin. This is a big step. At least it was for me. A lot of people get a lot out of doing fourth and fifth. For me, it was eight and nine was the big step for me. That's when the spiritual awakening really started happening, and I really started reaping some benefits and promises. That's something that I think I probably already talked about this in the meetings I go to. That's the steps that they'll read. They'll read the ninth step promises, and it kind of makes me mad a little bit, because they don't talk about this being part of the ninth step. And I want new people to understand. You got to get through a good portion of this program before these promises start to happen. They don't just happen just because you stopped drinking and stopped using drugs. For me, it was doing some more work to change my behavior, and I'll do what I can to fix the past, and and progress in the future and do things differently. So I think it's real important to read that, it is part of the ninth step, and so that's I don't like to repeat things that we hear a lot during these video logs, stuff that we may already have heard in meetings, or heard other people talk about. I really try to come from my own experience, so I'm not gonna repeat these promises, but I was thinking about some of the amends that I've made, and some of the really big ones that I've made, which my sponsor wanted me to do those first. Instead of doing the little ones first, he wanted me to get the big ones out of the way first, and we did them one at a time. It's not. That's what may be difficult for some people doing this amends. Is seeing this whole page, or a couple pages of amends we have to make, and harms that we cause other people, and it's maybe overwhelming. Too much handling. How am I going to handle? Do all this. And it's my sponsors are particular. We're going to do these one at a time. Get the big ones out of the way first. Let's get the most important one done right now. What do we need to do? What do I need to do to make amends to this person, and do what I can to correct the harms that I've caused. And me and my sponsor talked about if it was monetary or material possessions. What I could do to replace that. Some things are not are irreplaceable. I think I talked about this last week when I talked about step 8. But some things are just irreplaceable, and it's best to at least just come with something in hand, and say, this is what I have. Is this sufficient? What else can I do? What else do you need to try to make this right? And then come up with things to say. List of stuff how I'm going to talk, and it's not all about mentioning them or anything that they've done to me. It's all about what I've done to them, and what can I do now to make that better. And some people are like, I don't ever want to see you again. Don't ever contact me again. And that's it. You just drop the hat. That's the best I can do. For this person. And some people, I just won't even contact me. I've done that before, where I just couldn't even contact somebody. They wouldn't return calls. They wouldn't, write me back letters or any of that nature. And that may change in the future, but it's best to at least just make that attempt first. So my sponsor was real clear about, at least making that attempt. But going into details about these amends, I really want to talk about an amends that I've made, but I think it's best to continue on with what I talked about last week with my grandmother. Recently passed away. I don't know if any of you are watching this now. Watched the previous one about step 8, but I took some money from my grandmother's house in these penny jars, these coins. They're like dollar coins and 50-cent coins, stuff like that. And I took that stuff and spent it. And when it's time to make amends for that, I instead of just writing her a letter or calling her and apologizing and seeing what I could do. My sponsor wanted me to have something monetary in hand to give her with something written down or a speech to give her about what I did and admitting up to it. And if what else I can do to make this right, because I really didn't know exactly how much money that was that I took, and it wasn't just cash. It was these coins, like I said, these dollar coins, 50-cent coins. And I didn't know exactly where to get that stuff, so I went to the bank, and some of these banks will have that kind of stuff, and we'll collect it. And I was able to get some of these coins. Unfortunately, a lot of the dollar coins were the newer ones, those gold looking ones with the with the lady with the Indian child on her back and all that stuff. And I got some $2 bills. So it was really hard to make that monetary contribution exact, like the stuff that I took. But I got as much as I could, and I boxed it up, and I sent her a letter, and saying I didn't know how much exactly it was that I took, but I was trying to make this right and replace what I had taken. And I just owned up to all that I had done, even though she already knew what I had done. And she sent me a letter back saying that there was no need for me to do this. That she wanted me to, be good to my daughter. Now that I was a father, and do my best to make her life right. Monetarily and all that stuff. So that's I think that's what they call a living amends. There are some harms that we've done to people that it's not even just a monetary thing that we've taken from them. It's something we've actually done to them, or a way we treated them in the past. And the only way to make that right is to change the way we behave and do something different. And that may come just from speaking to someone. Their amends are made in a lot of different ways, but just that apology, saying you're sorry is just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't make it right. We actually have to go out and do something if we are not at that point where we can afford to replace what we've taken, or we're not in that place where we can change the behavior or the abilities. Then we're not ready to make that amends yet. And that's why it's important, I think, to go by these one by one, and talk with a sponsor or whoever you're working these steps with. Talk with them first about how to go about doing this, and just one by one. I don't need to look at this whole list of stuff that I need to do. It's one by one. And when I get done with one, I cross it off, and it just made me feel like such a better person inside, trying to make things right. Because like I said last week, these harms I did, were stuck in my head. I couldn't forget them as hard as I tried, as much as I, drank and did dope. The stuff was not going away. It was always going to be there. I was always going to be reminded of them. It wasn't something that happened every day, but at some point in time, I would remember this stuff, or I would see somebody, or I would run into them, and it's a very embarrassing, shaming thing, just to drop your head and be like, and not even know what to say to that person. But I want to read a little bit out of this book, instead of just talking. I think it's good to read out of our literature, but this is out of the 12 and 12, and that doesn't do a whole lot of talking on this step in this book. It's only a couple pages, but I found what I wanted to share right here at the beginning. I think I've already said a lot of this, but on page 83 it says, after we have made a list of people we have harmed, we reflected carefully upon each instance and have tried to possess ourselves of the right attitude in which to proceed. We will see that the making of direct amends divides those we would approach into several classes. There will be those who ought to be dealt with just as soon as we become reasonably confident that we can maintain our sobriety. There will be those to whom we can make only partial restitution, lest complete disclosures to them or others more harm than good. There will be other cases where action ought to be deferred, and still others in which, by the very nature of the situation, we shall never be able to make direct personal contact at all. And that's been, my case. One person in particular, I tried to reach by phone, by written stuff. I even tried to contact them on Facebook, and they just would not respond. And it was, a close personal friend of mine, someone that I had known since I was probably 3 years old, who really helped me out when I was about 17. And, I lived with him. I moved back to North Carolina, and that's where he lived, and I lived in with him. And then I took from the rent money, and I don't know what happened. I don't think they ended up getting kicked out or whatever. I had to move out, but he just wouldn't talk to me for years. And it was kind of the same situation. When I went to make amends to this guy and see what I could do to make things right. He was okay with it. He had turned it over, and it didn't bother him as much anymore. He looked at me as this different person. He always sees me as the same, and he knew that it was the drugs and the alcohol that caused me to make that decision and cause those harms. But it's those kind of things, that you may be afraid of making amends for, whether, they cause you to go to jail, or, I don't know how they can making amends can make a relationship even worse, unless it's something that they don't know that you've done to them, which is one of the cases with one of my amends. I did something to somebody, and I don't think they knew, and I had to go and make amends to that person. I didn't know if I was going to go to jail, if they were going to beat the hell out of me. I didn't know what was going to happen. It ended up being a great thing. They were so glad that I was honest with them, and that I wasn't drinking and using anymore. So that's stuff to keep in mind, and to talk to your sponsor about. You don't want to cause more harm to other people by making these amends. If you have a family and children that you're supporting, and that you've done something that may, you may lose your job, or may go to jail or something like that. These are things that need to be discussed with somebody before going out and doing this on your own. It's not good to make those decisions on your own. I think I've said about enough about the ninth step. Tonight we're closing in on that 20-minute mark. I was having a hard time thinking of what to do with that that link to put under the video on the halfmeasureroom.com webpage. When I was thinking of the ninth step and making amends, I was thinking about the Oxford groups. I don't know if any of y'all know the Oxford group. The Oxford group came around before the 12 steps did, and it was a big introduction to a spiritual approach to combating and treating alcoholics, drug addicts, and other people with problems. And it was started by this man called Frank Buckman, or Buckman. Not real clear on the name, but Sam. What was the other guy? Sam Shepard or something like that. There's another guy. They both kind of worked together, and they didn't have 12 steps. They had 4 absolutes, and but a big thing was making amends. Was one of the big principles behind these absolutes. That's how Frank Buckman started the Oxford group. I believe he was really angry about this religious organization he was in. Had taken some funding away for an organization that he had already started, some kind of fellowship, and they had taken his funding away for that, and he was very upset and angry about it. And when he came to and started seeing some truth, and he realized that not only should he forgive these people that took the funding, but he may need to go and correct some of the wrongs he had done towards them. And so that was a big principle. And those 4 absolutes and that whole Oxford Group program, the 12 steps came about after the Oxford Group I think basically because it just dealt with alcoholism, or it just dealt with drug addiction, whereas the Oxford group included a number of different people and problems all over the world. But it was the basis, the beginning of the 12-step program, and I found some really good history behind that on this web page. I really like the name of it. It's is it the AA Agnostica, and it's like a 12-step website for those that are atheist or agnostic, which I think is really important. I don't want people thinking that they have to have these beliefs in these religious organizations or be a part of any kind of religious organization just to work the 12 steps and be sober. There are atheists out there and agnostics out there that work the 12 steps. I know one in particular that I met through Half Measures Room, and he's been sober for I think 5-6 years now. He used to help chair this radio program that I did, so I know that that's possible. And I didn't read through this whole website. I just thought it was a really good place to go if you're having issues with the whole God concept or higher power thing. And it has this history of the Oxford group. That's the link I'm putting on there. So if you want to read more into this website, just click that homepage button at the top when you get to AA Agnostica. And gone over that 20-minute mark. I probably talked too much tonight, guys. But I will see you next week. We'll talk about step 10. Y'all have a good time.